10 surprising facts that will change your perspective. You think you're in the driver's seat of your own mind. You believe your choices are logical, your self-image is on point, and you've got a pretty good handle on the world. But what if science has a little secret to share? What if you're probably wrong about all of it? What if the real reasons you're always late, the confidence you admire in others, and even the sting of rejection are all run by hidden psychological rules you never knew existed? For centuries, we've been trying to decode the human mind, but some of the most mind-blowing answers have been hiding in plain sight, backed by solid research. The reality is, your brain is running on some seriously ancient software that doesn't always play nice with the modern world. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share 10 psychological facts that will shatter your self-perception and change how you see yourself and everyone else. Get ready for a perspective shift. Let's jump in. Number 1. The Dunning-Kruger effect. The most incompetent people are often the most confident. Ever met someone who's absolutely terrible at something, but carries themselves like a world-class expert? That's not just a weird quirk. It's a well-documented cognitive bias called the Dunning-Kruger effect, identified by psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger back in 1999. This effect points to a bizarre glitch in how we see ourselves. People with the least skill or knowledge in a specific area are literally incapable of recognizing their own incompetence. It's a dual burden. Not only are they making mistakes, but their ignorance stops them from even seeing the mistakes. Think of it like trying to edit an essay in a language you don't speak. You wouldn't even know what to look for. This is why you see amateur commentators who think they can solve global crises overnight, or why the least informed person in a meeting often speaks with the most certainty. On the flip side, the Dunning-Kruger effect also shows that true experts often underestimate their own abilities, assuming that things they find easy are just as simple for everyone else. So next time you see some truly baffling overconfidence, don't worry, you're not going crazy. You're just witnessing a fundamental flaw in human psychology. Number 2, the planning fallacy. You're not lazy. Your brain is just terrible at planning. If you're chronically late or always scrambling to hit deadlines, it might not be a character flaw. It's more likely the planning fallacy. First identified by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman and his colleague Amos Tversky, the planning fallacy is our universal habit of seriously underestimating how long a task will take, even when we've failed to estimate correctly in the past. Sound familiar? You guess a project will take 2 hours, conveniently forgetting the last 3 times you did it. It took closer to 4. Our brains are wired for a best-case scenario. When we plan, we imagine a smooth path with no interruptions, tech problems, or unexpected hurdles. This bias is so strong that in one study, even when students were asked for their most realistic guess for finishing a thesis, the vast majority still finished weeks late. So, the next time you set a deadline, try this. Break the task into tiny steps and then double your time estimate. You might just outsmart your own brain for once. Number 3. Social and physical pain. A broken heart can hurt like a broken bone. That old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Neurologically speaking, it's a lie. Groundbreaking research using fMRI scans has revealed that the brain processes the emotional pain of social rejection in some of the very same regions that light up for physical pain. While the neural fingerprints aren't identical, there's a significant and fascinating overlap, especially in a region called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This helps explain why social pain, like a brutal breakup, being ghosted, or deep loneliness, can feel so physically awful. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes total sense. For our ancient ancestors, being cast out of the tribe was a death sentence. It meant losing food, protection, and safety. So our brains evolved to treat social threats with the same urgency as a physical injury. When someone says they feel heartbroken, they aren't just being dramatic. They're describing a real and painful neurological event. Number 4. The mere exposure effect. You don't actually like your favorite song, you're just used to it. Why do you gravitate towards certain brands, songs, or even people? You might think it's based on a careful evaluation of their quality, but psychology points to a much simpler, almost silly reason. You just know them. This is the mere exposure effect. It's our natural tendency to prefer things just because they're familiar. In classic experiments, people were shown random symbols or faces so quickly they didn't consciously see them. Later, they consistently said they preferred the ones they'd been subliminally exposed to. This principle is the secret sauce of modern advertising. That jingle you can't get out of your head or that logo you see everywhere is slowly winning you over through sheer repetition. This even works with people. The more you see someone, the more likely you are to find them likable and trustworthy, all else being equal. It's a humbling thought. Our tastes aren't always a sign of sophisticated judgment, but often just a result of what's been put in front of us the most. Number 5. Dark humor and intelligence. If you love dark humor, you might just be a genius. Ever laughed at a joke that made someone else visibly uncomfortable? You may be a bit smarter than the average bear. A study published in the journal Cognitive Processing discovered a strong link between appreciating black humor and having a high IQ. In the study, people were asked to rate their understanding and enjoyment of some pretty bleak cartoons. Those who scored highest on both verbal and nonverbal intelligence tests consistently got a kick out of the dark jokes. But here's the kicker. Those same smart, dark humor fans also scored lower on aggression and negative moods. This throws a wrench in the old theory that morbid jokes are just a way to vent our dark impulses. Instead, researchers think that getting dark humor is a complex mental workout. It requires your brain to process a situation on multiple levels. You have to get the literal meaning, spot the taboo element, and then resolve that conflict in a way that's funny instead of just upsetting. It takes mental agility and emotional control to find the cleverness in the darkness. So go on, laugh at that gallows humor. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means your brain is getting in a good workout. We're halfway through, and if your brain is already buzzing, do us a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the weird world of you. It helps us make more content that makes you rethink everything. All right, back to it. Number 6. The brain's negative repetitive thoughts. Your brain is wired for negative thoughts, and it's not your fault. Ever feel like your mind is a playlist of worries, anxieties, and self-criticism stuck on repeat? You're not alone. Our brains have a built-in negativity bias, an evolutionary feature that makes us naturally focus more on bad news and negative experiences. This pattern of getting stuck on negative feelings is known as rumination. For our ancestors, this was a survival tool. Remembering the one time a predator was near the river was way more important than remembering the 100 times it wasn't. This has left modern humans with a brain that's incredibly good at clinging to negative events and replaying them on a loop. This cycle of rumination is a major risk factor for depression and anxiety and can create a vicious cycle. Ruminating makes you feel bad, and feeling bad makes you ruminate more. The key isn't to stop having negative thoughts. That's impossible, but to change how you relate to them. Practices like mindfulness can teach you to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by their story. Number 7. Choice overload. More choice doesn't make you happier, it makes you miserable. We live in a world that worships choice. Hundreds of streaming shows, dozens of coffee options. We assume more is always better, but psychology often says the exact opposite. This is the paradox of choice, or choice overload. When we're faced with too many options, our brains can get overwhelmed, leading to anxiety, an inability to decide, and less satisfaction with the choice we finally make. The most famous example is the JAM study. Researchers set up a tasting booth at a grocery store. When they offered 24 flavors of jam, lots of people stopped to look, but only 3% actually bought any. When they switched to just 6 flavors, fewer people stopped, but 30% of them bought a jar. Why? With fewer choices, the decision feels manageable. With too many, we get paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice, and even after we choose, we're more likely to feel regret, wondering about all the other jams we missed out on. While a total lack of choice is definitely worse, having too many options can be surprisingly draining. Sometimes freedom isn't endless choice, but just a few good ones. Number 8. The spotlight effect. Nobody is paying as much attention to you as you think. Remember that time you tripped on the sidewalk or had spinach in your teeth, and you were absolutely convinced every single person saw it and was silently judging you? Yeah, they probably weren't. This incredibly common fear is a cognitive bias called the spotlight effect. We walk around feeling like there's a giant spotlight following our every move, highlighting our flaws for all to see. In reality, most people are too busy being the star of their own movie and worrying about their own spotlight to pay much attention to you. A brilliant Cornell University study proved this perfectly. Researchers had students walk into a classroom wearing a t-shirt with a big, embarrassing picture of Barry Manilow on it. The students wearing the shirt predicted that about half the people in the room would notice the actual number, closer to 25%. This happens because we are the center of our own universe. Our own actions feel so huge to us that we can't imagine they aren't just as huge to everyone else. Realizing this can be incredibly freeing. It means you can take more chances, be more yourself, and stop worrying so much, because the truth is, they're probably not thinking about you at all. Number 9. Helping others extends your life. The secret to a longer life isn't about you, it is about others. We spend so much time and energy trying to improve ourselves, all in the hope of living longer, healthier lives. But one of the most powerful secrets to longevity isn't about self-care at all. It's about other care. Countless studies show a powerful link between altruism and health. One meta-analysis found that regular volunteering was associated with a significantly lower risk of early mortality. People who consistently help others also tend to have lower rates of depression and a greater sense of well-being. What's going on here? Acts of kindness can trigger the release of oxytocin, which helps lower blood pressure and reduce stress. Helping others also gives us a sense of purpose and social connection, which are vital shields against the health problems caused by stress and loneliness. It pulls our focus away from our own worries and connects us to something bigger. In a world that pushes personal gain, science offers a beautiful twist. Sometimes the most selfish thing you can do for your health is to be selfless. Number 10. Depression physically ages your brain. Depression isn't just in your head, it physically alters your brain. For way too long, depression has been dismissed as just being sad or a sign of weakness. But modern neuroscience shows us a much more sobering reality. Major depressive disorder doesn't just hurt your mood, it can physically change your brain, sometimes shrinking key areas and even speeding up the aging process. Brain imaging studies have repeatedly shown that people with chronic depression often have a smaller hippocampus, the part of the brain crucial for learning and memory. This shrinkage can directly lead to memory loss and cognitive fog that so many people with depression struggle with. What's more, research suggests that depression can accelerate biological aging. The brains of people with a history of depression can appear biologically older than their non-depressed peers. This isn't meant to scare you, but to validate the immense biological battle that depression is. It's not something a person can just snap out of. It's a serious medical condition with very real physical effects, which is why getting compassionate, effective treatment is absolutely critical to protect not just your mind, but the very structure of your brain. From the bizarre confidence of the unskilled to the literal pain of a broken heart, our minds are a wild landscape of hidden rules and surprising truths. We've learned that your brain is a terrible planner, that too many choices can make you miserable, and that helping others is a powerful way to help yourself, but maybe the biggest takeaway is this: understanding these psychological quirks isn't about judging yourself. It's about empowerment by seeing these hidden forces for what they are. You can start to question your gut reactions, make more intentional choices, and maybe, just maybe, get a little more control over the amazing, complicated, and ancient brain you're living with. Which of these facts blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to keep challenging what you think you know, be sure to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.